Welcome, kitties, and thank you for joining us for some more reading of Baldur's Gate's books. This will be our last segment of reading Baldur's Gate journals collected by our friend Montaron.
Thank you. I've been carrying them around all fucking adventure. I wish someone would unload them.
Alright, Montaron, where should we start? How about with the Diary of Saravok?
Diary. 14 of Elent, 1367. Today, Cormyr has instituted a ban against the Iron Throne from operating within their borders. While this is a great blow to the Iron Throne, it is a perfect opportunity for Rilatar to approach the Throne High Council with his proposal. If things go well, we could begin the operation within the year. 25th of Marpinoth, 1367. Davernor has sent me a message to Rilatar, informing him that the mine at Cloakwood has been drained and are ready for use. This revelation should help greatly in the convincing the Iron Throne High Council. 2nd of Nightar, 1367. The Iron Throne Council has agreed to support Rilatar's plan. He has been giving all the resources he needs as well as leadership of the project. I have expressed interest to my father, and he has promised to include me within the operations along the Sword Coast. He mentioned Mother in our conversation, how I wasn't to be unfaithful to him as she had. He made it clear that I would suffer her fate if I was. Her threats are weak and hollow, and I shall listen to them only for so long. I have decided to take this time to make my visit to Candle Keep. I have waited a long time to research the prophecies of Alundo, and I must know if the dreams speak the truth. I will not believe the words of the phantoms without proof, and the priest of Baal I've confronted gave me nothing. He was old and died quickly in my grasp. If the words are true, I shall surely groom stronger acolytes than this. 11th of Chess, 1368. My research has gone well. The monks here at Candle Keep have been quite helpful. From what I've read, it would seem certain that the blood of Baal does indeed flow through my veins. His prophecies are of course ambiguous, but I think I understand them. He foresaw his coming death and seeded his essence across the land. The children born as a result bear the mark of chaos, have power with no direction, and shall feel the blood of a god within them. The death they shall bring will awaken the Father, and through them he will rise. It does not explicitly say, but obviously this means that death wrought by children will cause them to ascend. Fitting, and since Father was the Lord of Murder, proving one's worth must involve an act in accordance with his portfolio. I begin to see what I must do. Death on a godlike scale. 3rd of Tarshak, 1368. The monk Gorion troubles me. He seems to have taken an interest in my readings. I must be careful to be more clandestine in my research. I wish I could simply kill him, but I doubt I could safely murder him within this damnable library. 11th of Tarshak, 1368. I had a dream this night. My mother was talking to me, but as she did, her face became bloated and discolored. Her voice became weaker as she spoke to me, telling me to save her from Rilatar. I could see the garrote cutting into her neck, but I did nothing. It was only a dream. 27th of Tarshak, 1368. I take my leave of Candlekeep now, and not a moment too soon, for I am sure that Gorion has perceived my heritage. One thing that I am certain of, RonStock is actuality, one of Baal's brood as well. RonStock has all the markings, and it will explain Gorion's curiosity of my studies. Though there is nothing I can do now, I will have to make certain to return and kill the little brat. It would be foolish of me to let one of my siblings live, especially one being brought up by the Harpers, and I am sure that this is where Gorion's allegiances lay. 5th of Myrtle, 1368. Today I met with Rilatar on Baldur's Gate. The fool still insists on calling me his son, and for now I will let him. He assumes that I am loyal to him because he raised me. Well, loyal I am, but only as long as he is useful. He set up a base in the mansion of a destitute noble family, and says that everything is running smoothly. Molahay has established himself at the mines of Nashkel, and his kobold minions should be already busily contaminating the iron ore. Only a few slaves have begun to mine out the ore at the Cloakwood, though Rilatar assures me that once the bandit raids begin, we'll have a steady supply of new slaves. 8th of Hammer, 1369. I met with the leaders of the Chill and Black Talons. I have little liking for Ardenor, the leader of the Chill, but Tilsgore seems to be a man of his word. It is a good thing, as I'll have to work these mercenaries for the rest of the year. 3rd of Tarshak, 1370. Everything proceeds well. The ore coming from Nashkila started to deteriorate, and my mercenaries have been doing a fine job at destroying any iron caravans en route to Baldur's Gate. Though some of my mercenaries have been captured, most think they work for the Zents, so no trouble has fallen on the Iron Throne. I am sure that the Zents at Darkhold won't be pleased to know that their name hasn't been falsely used. I will have to be wary of Zentish agents in the coming months. 28th of Tarshak, 1370. I think I now have the time to deal with the old codger Gorion and his little whelp. I will have to inform my men that I'll be gone for the next few weeks. No time to write, but I don't neglect my journals so. The future dead must know of how the Lord of Murder again came to them. I shall hire a scribe when the time allows. Things have not gone completely as I have planned, but I will still be able to salvage the situation. RonStock is on the move to Baldur's Gate. If I could maneuver the whelp to Candlekeep, then I would have the perfect scapegoat for my plan. My mortal father, Realtar, is there to meet with the Knights of the Shield. He's been blocking all my attempts to escalate the hostilities between Arm and Baldur's Gate, and these meetings will only serve to smooth the relations. I must rid myself of them all and assume control of the Iron Throne myself. I cannot allow petty business and monetary concerns to interfere. Terribly sorry, father, but my true parentage calls, and you are in my way. I shall be sure to instruct the doppelgangers in my exact manner. Realtar should die. I think a Geralt would be perfect for the task. This diary looks to be important. Keep it on your pulse.
More, RonStock, more! Very well. We shall now read the history of Harua. What, is that like a Zelda game? This is a different Harua. Shut the fuck up. Harua was settled centuries ago by wizards fleeing the Faerûn in what has become the Anirok Desert. The first wizards came in unique flying ships invented by the Netherese and found a beautiful and rich country settled only by shepherds and large herds of aurochs and wild wrath. It was here that the wizards decided to make a stand should the Faerûn follow. The Faerûn never did, but Harua had to defend itself from attacks by all of its neighbors since then. Over the centuries, Baldur has attacked and raided Harua's ports and borders multiple times, once led by a magic-resistant barbarian, the Dambroi, occupied all the country south of Lake Harua. They were defeated in battle by the great archmage Mykontil, who slew their barbarian leader. 40,000 Dambroi attacked, and was stopped by 500 Haruans. More than 200 Haruan wizards, including Mykontil, died in the battle. The last attack of Harua was less than 100 years ago, though the telleth path by the power-hungry king of Lapudia. He had allied with the bandits from the Waste, though this time the Haruans were able to field a larger force, including fighting men as well as wizards in their skyships. The attackers were easily routed. Harua also suffered through a civil war about 5 centuries ago, when a number of mages advocated beginning new experiments in magic, ones which even the Netherese didn't approve of. The renegades were driven from the region, but went on to found the land of Thay, also it is said in Harua. Since then, Harua has been at peace. They have had no declared wars, though it still suffers raids from the Dambria pirates, bandits of the Waste, savages from the Mahar jungles, and any other pirate raider or hungry wizard who thinks that magic and wealth grows on trees in Harua. This constant raiding has made the Haruans very defensive, warlike, and traditional. The people say that since wizards have always led them, wizards always will.
The history of Gondegal the Lost King. Arobal, long under dominion of Cormyr, for a time became the center of the Swordmen's Empire. This swordsman was Gondegal, the Lost King, who in the year of the Dragon attempted to carve a kingdom for himself centered on Arobal. It was to extend north to the Desert's Mouth Mountains, south and west of Wyvern Water, and warm farms outlying from Even Star, and east to Tilva's Gap in the mountain passes. In the years following, people would say that Gondegal's reach was no longer than his blade. He could not hold any territory against the might of Cormyr, Sembia, Daggerdale, Tilverton, and several of the other dales. all of whom he drew the blood and ear in the making of his throne. Gondegul ruled for less than a season. Though he reigned officially for scarcely 8 days, the remainder of his rule was spent fighting here and there against one foe or another in the lands he claimed. His troops were largely mercenary, and his treasury of seized goods was small and soon gone. One night Gondegul's forces simply melted away before the advancing troops of Cormyr and was gone. King Azun IV retook Arabel on that morn without wetting a blade. No one has ever found the body of Gondegul. He is known to have fled north and then east, via Teshwave. But then his fate becomes a matter of conflicting rumor and legend. Some believe he still lives with a score of more loyal followers, keeping court in the wild somewhere, a careful and ruthless bandit who takes care that none survive his attacks to carry tales anywhere. When entire caravans vanish at times anywhere between the high dale and far-off Impiltur, he is blamed by the talk of taverns. Gondegul was said to be a tall, grey-haired warrior of considerable personal skill and intelligence. His badge, his grey wolf's head face on, with red eyes. Caravan guards often warn merchants to beef up and escort on a particular caravan, else the gold they'll soon be gilding Gondegul's throne. Gondegul was an impeccable swordsman, and somewhat chaotic in his self-professed neutral alignment. If he does not indeed yet live, the magical treasure he carries and who his allies might be are all unknown. Gondegul's reign had a great influence on the king of Cormyr, and at the time, in the second decade of rule, not only was Azun forced to put down an effective rebellion in his own country, he was forced to pay more attention to matters outside Suzel to become the ruler of a nation, as opposed to a city-state. Further, the bloodless assault on Arabel was Azun's first true experience at the head of his army, and the joy of freeing the people of Arabel is one that remains with him.
The history of the Dragon Coast. History of the Dragon Coast is the history of money, particularly the darker side of the coin. Situated on the main trade routes between the Intersea and Sword Coast, these lands never coalesced into a solid, coherent nation like Cormyr or Serbia. Instead, small petty city-states have risen and fallen powered by greed and the most powerful merchant or pirate faction of the day. As a result, the Dragon Coast has always been the home of the smuggler, the pirate, the rogue, and the hired killer. It has been the place where those seeking to skirt the laws of more civilized nations to the north make landfall. It is here that the Red Wizards gain their access to Western Heartlands, and where the Cult of Dragon launches its plots to the south. And it is here that the independent secret societies and assassin guilds have their greatest power. The last semblance of organized resistance to this trend was the reign of Verovan, last of the kings of Westgate. The monarchy of Westgate had long worked closely with various mercantile and the pirate factions, but Verovan attempted to stem the growing power of merchant houses and petty lords. His sudden and mysterious death without acceptable heirs in 1248 Dale Reckoning opened the door for much of what is now commonplace in the Dragon Coast, corruption and treachery. It should be noted that while Verovan's name is still venerated in the lands better known as Emuk, the greatest of inner sea parties, a brash and flamboyant rogue who united a pirate fleet beneath him and ruled 1164 Dale Reckoning to his death in 1201. Such it is in the Dragon Coast that good people are venerated, but the power of darker rogues is imitated. The recipes and ruminations of one Dradil of Tether. A lovely bunk cake brightens anyone's day. The recipes herein are my own imagining, and thus ingredients are subject to change as per my whim. A belladonna bun cake, a simple little dish for a rainy afternoon. Corn flour, the eggs of a seabird, a spoon of white-cap fungus. Ooh, that sounds fucking tasty. The fruit of your choice for sweetening. Strawberries are good. One small measure of belladonna root. Yeah, don't fucking die or anything. Prepare as one would a bread loaf through less time given to the rising of my cock. Bake in a well-stoked hearth under leaves for 1 turn of an hourglass, and shut the fuck up. Notes to myself, refrain from eating this ever again, or you will shit exponentially twice as much. Remember the unfortunate week on the kitchen floor, where you woke up in a pool of your own vomit, and jism. Dare deals vegetable surprise. That's what she said. A dish that turned out surprisingly edible, not for recommended as primary meal every day for 300 years, because you would be fucked up. Place 2 cups of virgins or virgin Netherese olive oil and 1 large chopped onion in a large pot, but don't smoke the pot yet. Saute onions in oil over medium fire until onions begin to become clear. You know, clear. Like the color clear. Add 2 chopped carrots and 2 chopped stalks of celery. And then stick a carrot up your asshole. Saute for an additional 3 minutes. Add 1.5 quarts of water and bring to a boil. And then shut the fuck up. Add 2 dice of peeled potatoes and stuff a potato up your ass. 1 cup of white wine should get you drunk if you're a pussy. 1 bay leaf, 2 diced tomatoes, and chopped parsley to taste. Like shit. Cook, cover over medium smaller fire until vegetables are almost tender. Like my nutsack, and add 2 cups of chopped spinach and cook for an additional 15 motherfucking minutes. Serve hot and garnish with grated cheese. From Munda cheese, that is. Note, the Orcus version replaced all ingredients with dog shit. Mother's topical salve is a rather large failure, because she's a dumb bitch. Research further with the following in mind. The creatures on this isle are unusual beyond their splitting into 2 factions. Theirs is an odd curse, one that defies the traditional remedies, such as, unfortunately, dangerous muffin tops. Though one is not without hope, the exotic origin of original stock suggests a unique enchantment, not unlike that more widely known vampiric afflictions. The casual bite on the ass might be averted using such as belladonna flower, but an intentional infection could actually require the extermination of a leader of the clan. This is merely conjecture, of course, as I have been unable to examine said leader's cock in my mouth. Despite my strange immunity, he is a strength that could still inflict a measure of serious damage upon my physical form. And I have spoken on occasion, though his tolerance of me is no more resilient than mine of him, because he's a cocksucker. Further notes to myself, future offerings of peace to either of the woven clans should not take the form of muffin tops of any sort. The bachelor's crutch, noodles, ramen noodles, if you can afford them. Ingredients, a measure of ramen noodles, boiling water in a container. Hopefully not your bunghole. Combine ingredients in 1 container. Enjoy. Oh yes. Holy shit, alright. Notes to myself should probably be supplemented with something of nutritional value, lest my bones become brittle as chalk. Anyways, that's the recipes and ruminations of the book we got from that cocksucker on Werewolf Isle. Now, let's journey into the history of the Drow.
We know little of the Illythi, or Elves of the South, but their crucial event. Even then, they were known as Dark Elves, for the hue of their skin. They dwelt in the jungles and hot forests of the South. A proud, warlike, culturally advanced folk, the Illythi attacked all neighbors, including other elven tribes. Their cruel raids and depredations ordered by warlike nobility and the clergy of their 2 cruel deities, Gondedua and Loth, forced the elves, humans, dwarves, and others to ally against them. Defeated in a series of titanic magical battles, the Dark Elves fled into the underground warrens they had earlier discovered. This event was known as the Descent, marked the end of the Drow as a surface-dwelling race. The warlike Drow nature did not change when they escaped their surface foes during the Descent. In fact, they immediately launched a series of wars to establish territories in the Underdark. They began by stealing and seizing dwarven magical items and using them against the dwarves, establishing an enmity that is still strong today. The Drow then fought amongst themselves, noble against noble, priest against priestess, for rule of their new realm. This all-out war ended amid great magical explosions that brought down the roof of the largest dwarven cavern they had seized, Great Bihedrian. The ceiling collapsed entirely, burying many Drow and the shattered dwarven cities. The cavern, now open to the sky, became known as the Great Rift. The surviving Drow nobles gathered what people, slaves, and equipment they could seize and fled into the Underdark, in search of places to dwell. The scattering brought about many a rival, self-interested cities where most Drow live today. I don't have any more books for that, so fucking sorry. But we can't continue the history of the North. Part 7, the Year of the Banner. As the dwarves settled in for the winter in their reclaimed city of Felbar,
A group of Zentarum spokesmen adventurer broke into the Great Worm Cavern, slain Elrim the Wise, shaman leader of the Great Worm tribe, and the tribe's warriors descended into the ranks of the evil adventurers. Teleportation magic spirited at least 3 of those responsible, as well as the vast amount of treasure stolen from Elrim to safety. According to Themrin, the tribe's present shaman, Elrim promised to watch over the tribe in spirit now that my mortal form is destroyed. Despite the reassuring words of Elrim, the tribe suffered through an impressive winter and included both heavy snow, scarce game, and low morale. Trusted visitors to the barbarian encampment report that Themrim and Gweshin Ironhand, Talistars, are wearing some form of armor made from scales of Elrim. This use of their former shaman's body as protection was supposedly ordained through a dream vision. The armor appears as little more than a supple leather armor, but seems to be deflecting blows and protect as well as full-plate mail. Nesmi reported a drastic rise in the number of troll attacks in the Evermoors, and various sources confirm that something is driving the trolls out of the moors. Whatever is behind the trolls' exodus is destined to remain a mystery for the remainder of the year, as adventuring parties expend themselves against the never-ending supply of trolls that are fleeing the bog. In the most surprising move of the year, the Blue Bear tribe, led by the shaman/chieftain Tanta Hagara, marched on the fiend-ridden fortress of Hellgate Keep. While a brief struggle for political control of the city was reported by various sources, Tanta Hagara emerged as the new ruler of the city. The Year of the Gauntlet. History of the North, Volume 8. The tumultuous climate of Hellgate Keep continued to provide adventuring activity. A group of harpers infiltrated the city using cloaking magic and revealed that Tanta Hagara was actually an Annis. This revelation did nothing to hamper the Blue Bears' respect for their powerful chieftain, however, and as the city responded to unmasking by attacking caravans en route to Sundabar, in addition, a few expeditionary forces of Tanari were sent to harass the Citadel of the Mist, Sundabar, and Silvery Moon. Tanta Hagara informed her loyal troops that gates existed in these cities that could allow other Tanari to join in the glorious battles to come as we take control of all the north. Illustriel cast powerful magical spells in the defense of Silvery Moon against the raiding Tanari, and the city itself suffered no damage from their attack. The Mistmaster of the Citadel and the Mist likewise aided in the defense of the Citadel, though reports still rage about the assistance of the treants of the High Forest. Sundabar suffered from Hellgate's Keep attack, as the fiends broke through the walls and raised havoc along the city streets. While the adventurers battled the fiends, Helm Dwarfrin led a large contingent of city guard to drive the remainder from Sundabar. Still, the fiends from Hellgate Keep left the city with the satisfaction of knowing that it was burning in their wake. Within 2 days, however, the fires were extinguished and Sundabar has since rebuilt from the attack. By mid-Elysius, rumors that Turlang, the powerful treant who resides in the northern high forest, was actively defending the woodlands near the Citadel of the Mist, reached the ears of Tanta Hagara, the hag ruler of Hell Keep. News that Turlang was aiding the Mistmaster did not escape her notice, and the belief that the Citadel of Mist was holding on extraplanar artifact only added to the hag's interest. Tanta assembled a large force consisting of more than 100 Tanari and other fiends as well as 500 members of the Blue Bear tribe to raise the Citadel of Mist. But as the evil forces marched their way into the high forest, the Mistmaster put his own plan into motion. 2 Harper agents, a bard named Krishna Faglin, and a priest of Mistra known as Spellviper, infiltrated Hellgate Keep, disguised as members of the Blue Bear tribe. Each carried with them a part of extraplanar artifact called the Gatekeeper's Crystal. The Gatekeeper's Crystal is an artifact shaped like a 3-pointed star that is made of onyx and an unknown metal that entwines itself through the gem. Each point of the star is a separate piece that can be combined together to create the artifact or separate to 3 powerful magical items. While the crystal can be used in different manners, it was primarily created to bring down wards, including mythos and other powerful protections. According to legend, it was created by a powerful lich who used it to render clerics powerless, stripping them of their ability to turn undead and nullifying necromantic magic within a 50-mile radius. The Mistmaster had a different use for the Gatekeeper's Crystal, but he needed volunteers to aid him in placing 2 shards of the crystal at the precise locations within the warded city of Hellgate Keep. In particular, he needed 2 people who were willing to trade their lives to exterminate the fields of Hellgate Keep forever. Spellviper and Krishna agreed to the suicide mission. Holding the pieces of crystal, the 2 Harpers waited for the Mistmaster to activate the magic with his 3rd piece. initiating the magic that would tear Hellgate Keep asunder. When the blaze beam of purple energy illuminated the skies over the keep, no one within the fiend's stronghold had time to wonder what was happening. The power of the gatekeeper's crystal forced the wards to cascade upon the city, causing an implosion that shook the ground for more than 100 miles. As quickly as the walls surrounding Hellgate Keep collapsed, the crystal released the magical energy in an explosion that leveled every building in the city, leaving nothing but fist-sized chunks of rock where Hellgate Keep once stood. Not a living creature stirred, not even a mouse. In the remains, all was silent and lifeless. The force of the Tanari was Hellgate Keep was unsure what had happened and felt the tremor when the gatekeeper's crystal had been activated. They were fighting for their own lives, however, as the Treants, Korrids, Centaurs, Satyrs, Dryads, and other creatures of the High Forest, including defenders of the Citadel of the Mist, battered them into the moist earth, like a moist vagina. One of the Norse most notable rulers fell in battle, however. He had took at least 6 Tanari with him to his grave. Feriel Blackhammer, the Lord Protector of Trebor, fell alongside his troops near the conclusion of the conflict. Within weeks after the final battle with Hellgate Keep, Treants blocked passage further north and joining the Hot Blood and the Limbia rivers. While the Treants cared little for hunters and adventurers passing through the area, all caravans seeking passage north to Sunderbar have been repulsed, and this is not a matter of Treants wish to negotiate. In another mishap blamed on Turlang, Tombstone Pass was blocked by a tremendous avalanche. This final calamity sealed the upvale from any major force of men traveling to the area formerly occupied by Hellgate Keep, is now limited to the adventurers and other brave travelers. The Mistmaster has been questioned repeatedly by some of the most powerful wizards in the realms, including Eleminster of Shadowdale and Calblin Blackstaff of Arun Sun, about the current location of Gatekeeper's crystal. Most sources claim that the pieces of crystal have been scattered amongst the plains again, but no one is certain. Near Nesmi, the source of Troll's exodus is revealed. Fog and cloud giants have taken up residence in the moor, driving the trolls from the giants' new homeland. While it is unknown how many giants have taken up residence in the high moor, estimates range up to the several hundred. Holy shit. A thick mist continually hangs in the air of the Evermoors now, even more persistent than the mist before the giants' revival. Many believe that these new mists are the work of the cloud giants, but none can be certain. Illustrial of Silvermoon sent a detachment of guards to investigate the eastern borders of the moor, and the guards returned with news that a gathering around 20 fog giants who were of good nature and quite friendly had taken up residence in the formerly troll-infested area. Guards from Romany and Nesmi were not so fortunate, however, running into a clan of violent, boulder-hurling fog and cloud giants who rarely decimated the Union. In addition, a group of adventurers crawled into Nesmi with terrible burns, reporting that they had run into a black dragon at the fog giant encampment. Overall, it appears that both good and evil giants now call the moor their home. History of the North, Return of the Beast. Sages, philosophers, historians, and priests alike feel an ill boding in the chill air. They predict a slow change over the next decade, but within the lifetime of men born on the first day of this age, they believe that the beasts that once ruled the land plan to return to claim what's rightfully theirs, imprisoning and enslaving the crowns. Where else once reigned, men now rule, but their hold, as true for all civilizations before, is tenuous. At best. And that's it for today, kitties. I hope you enjoyed the Game Holders playthrough of Baldur's Gate Enhanced Edition. Stay tuned for more Game Holder productions, and maybe a few more stories from your master, RonStock.